Hello everybody, it's Ant the Handyman. Today we're going to be replacing the remote and the remote receiver for a ceiling fan. So here's the remote that we're going to be replacing the old ceiling fan remote with. It's just another Hampton Bay Universal 5-function ceiling fan remote, except the old one has a 4-speed control and the new one has a 3-speed control. So in the box we have the remote, which has the on and off button, the ceiling fan speed control button, the light button where you can turn the light on and off, the comfort breeze button, the timer button which you can use for both the light and the ceiling fan. And also this will be mostly useful when you go to sleep. You don't have to turn the fan off manually, you can just set the timer and it'll automatically turn off for you. Now we have the cradle, which you can put basically anywhere in the room for easy access when you turn the ceiling fan off. And then we have the screws and wall mount. The wall mount will be useful to not destroy the wall when you screw in the cradle. And then we have the twist caps, which you use to tighten the wires together once you have connected them, and to prevent short circuit if the wire is loose. Then we have the remote receiver, which you'll put in the ceiling fan so that you can use the remote. Now here's the code. This code is actually really important because if you have any other universal ceiling fan remote receiver like this, it's important to change it, otherwise this will happen.
Meanwhile,
what the heck is going on here?
Now that will only be useful if you have more than one ceiling fan in one room so that you can control them together instead of two separate remotes. And then there's this little piece here which you can put over the code thing when you're done programming it. Here's a little word of advice from my experience. So there are 4 speeds ceiling fans and 3-speed ceiling fans. Now this is a 4-speed ceiling fan remote, and my ceiling fan is a 3-speed ceiling fan remote, which is actually supposed to be used for this. Now the thing that I experienced with the 4-speed ceiling fan remote with a 3-speed ceiling fan is that when you press the fan button on the first speed, the light and the whole system just shuts off automatically. And each time you try to press the light button to turn the light back on, it just doesn't work. It just keeps blinking and then it won't turn back on until you make a couple of tries to turn it on and maybe pull the chains a couple of times. So when you buy your ceiling fan remote, make sure that it's the right thing for you and for the ceiling fan, and make sure that it's the right amount of speeds. So if your ceiling fan is a 4-speed, you'll get this remote. If it's a 3-speed, you'll get this remote. Of course, when you're doing electrical work, it's always important to turn the switch to that room off. So let's turn that off. Alright, now we're all set. Let's go start the installation. Alright, so let's start off by taking the 4 screws on the top of this canopy off. So now that we got the 4 screws off, let's carefully remove the canopy. And this black thing right here is the remote receiver. So we're going to start unwinding all the connections to that. So let's start off with this one. Alright, so we got all the connections out. So now what we can do, hold on, I forgot this one. Alright, so now that we got all the connections out, you pull this black piece out and you got the remote receiver. So now let's start by putting the new one in. Alright, so here's the new remote receiver. So again, you're going to want to switch this code out. So I actually have to switch mine because I have another ceiling fan in here. So I'm just going to set it to my old one. So just use a screwdriver to stick in there and flip the switch the way the one that you want it to set the code. And then you're going to take this rubber piece right here. We're going to put that on there. Now, alright, so now let's put this in. So we're going to push this right in there, like this. And this is also the antenna, so make sure that it's sticking out like this, so that it does, so it could, so the remote could read it, and it won't like have struggles trying to work. Alright, so we're gonna connect the blue wire to the blue wire from the ceiling fan to the remote receiver. Now we're gonna do black wire to black wire for the ceiling fan. Okay, now we're gonna do white to white over here. Okay, so now we're gonna twist in the wires from the ceiling to the remote receiver. So now here's the tricky part. Now there's a white to white, but there's a red and a black wire. Now these are the only two wires left, so you're gonna be connecting those two together. Now you won't be able to twist the black wire because it's a really strong copper. But what would be easier would be just to wrap the red wire around the black wire. Then let's tighten that up with the cat. So it's in there this time. And then finally we have the white wire to the white wire. Again, you're gonna twist the white wire around the other white wire because the one from the ceiling is made out of a really hard copper. Alright, now we have this in. Now maybe before you close the canopy, you might want to test the fan out, because if there's any connection issues, you don't have to take the canopy down once again. So let's try this.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Alright, so I got the power back on. Now let's try this out. So let's test the light button. Alright, now the fan button. It's on high. Okay, so high is working. Now let's test the medium. Alrighty. Now let's test low. Alright, everything is working. So now we could turn the power back off and we could put the canopy back up. Alright, so now that we know that the fan is working and the remote is working, we're gonna put this canopy back on. Putting the canopy in is one of the tricky parts because all those wires are pushing back. Alright, now we're all done putting this in. You can turn your fan back on and now you can enjoy it. Alright, so I turned the circuit breaker back on. Now the fan is up and running perfectly fine with the remote and stuff. Now I'm going to show you how you dim the light on the ceiling fan with the remote. So here's the remote. So you're going to open the back right here. Now there's a little button right there that says D and O. D means dim, and O, I don't really know what it means. It's probably just original. So you're going to switch it to the D side, which I already did. If you have big fingers, just use a screwdriver to make it easier. So now that you have switched it to dim, you could dim your ceiling fan by pressing and holding the light button. Yep, and it goes lower. And then once it goes lower, you can press and hold it again and put it back higher. Alright, so we're going to be installing the cradle. So first we're going to remove this slit right here. And then what you can do is you're going to put this right here. If you have a pencil or a tool, you can just mark it so that you know where to drill the hole. Alright, so we marked it. Now we're gonna drill the hole in the wall. Alright, so now you're gonna get the cap thing and you're gonna use a hammer. You're gonna use a hammer to put this into here. Might have to make the hole a little bigger actually. So we're gonna put that in. No, I couldn't find my hammer, so I'm gonna use a mallet. Might not even go in. It's not going in. So I'm using something else. So let's get this screw. So now we're gonna put this in just like that. So it's all the way on the wall. Just it's nice and tight. You're gonna put this slip cover back on. You put the slip cover back on. Like that. And now you can put the remote on it and it'll sit there whenever you need it. This is the end of the video. I hope this video helped you. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time. Thank you for watching.
You better subscribe right now. Do it. Do it. Now.